Hey, it's Chris with Be Green Landscaping, and this is 5 mistakes to avoid in your first year in your landscaping business. All right, we'll jump right into it. For me, the number one mistake that I made was taking on too many services or too many tasks. Your first year in landscaping or any service business, you're gonna like get real excited and just want to be able to provide all types of services to your clients so that you're more hireable to them and you can provide more work for them and also create more revenue for yourself. It sounds all good at first. As you get going and you continue to get more and more clients, you're actually gonna put yourself in a position where you're doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you have kind of already committed to doing these things for these clients. So what you want to do is just pick a few tasks, services that you're going to want to provide, that you have the resources for, or the tools, the equipment, and that you're good at it and it's profitable, and just do those. Get really good at it. Be as efficient as you can, and just stick to those. Offer them, stick to them, and don't really deviate from that. If you take on too much, by mid-season, even in your first year, you're gonna feel like you're getting pulled in so many different directions from so many different people, and you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna be wanting to pull your hair out, and chances are your first year in business you're not gonna have the manpower, the labor to help you and to get you through those busier times. So narrow it down to if you're just cutting grass or trimming bushes or pruning tree limbs, whatever you're gonna do, just do it and don't really deviate from that. So the second one for me, and I think this will probably be for a lot of people, is underquoting jobs. That's never fun. When you're leaving money on the table and then you're kicking yourself in the ass because you're on a job site now all pissed off because you didn't take your time on the quote, and you're just on a job and not making as much money as you should be, and you're not gonna take your time with that job anymore. You're gonna be rushing to get off the property, and you're just not gonna be making as much money as you should have. So on every job as well, you're gonna learn from your experiences, and the more jobs you do, the more different things you do, and with like landscaping, you're gonna learn more about the jobs and what they actually take, and labor and your resources, to where you'll better be able to quote these jobs. Also, like being realistic with your jobs and your quotes. Some things you just may not know necessarily how to do, or what type of problems or issues you're going to run into while doing these kinds of jobs. But some things, you just got to plan, or expect the worst and hope for the best. Like, be realistic with your quote. Don't just think like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Pulling that shrub out, it's only going to take me 5 minutes, and it ends up literally taking you a half hour to get one boxwood out the ground. And so those are the kind of things that are going to add up, and just take your time and really think about how long these jobs are going to take you, and instead of quoting it maybe for 6, you might as well make it a full day and quote it for an 8-hour day, just to be safe. Expect the worst, hope for the best. Next, one thing that I do a lot, and this is still under under quoting jobs, is when you're doing a quote and you're there with the customer, be quiet. Don't talk too much. Let the customer do the talking. Let them, tell you and explain to you what they want, what their expectations are. Let them get it all out, walk through the whole property. You're just taking it all in, taking mental notes, and then once you guys are all finished and you wrap that up, don't give a price right there in person. If they ask you how much or about how much, you know what, I'm going to have to go home, work on this quote, and then, I'll be able to send it over to you in an email. Don't feel pressure to have to give a quote right then and there. Too many times, even something as simple as cutting a lawn, trimming bushes, aerations, whatever, too many times I throw a price out there and then now I'm held to it. I'm stuck to it. I got to do it. I got to deliver at that price. And then when I'm doing the job, then I realize, wow, I should have been charging this or that, or this is taking me 2 hours longer than I expected. So don't blurt out a price. Don't feel pressure to have to get a price out there just because they ask you. I'm going to go home, work on the quote. I'll be able to send it right over to you in an email. So keep your mouth shut. Don't talk too soon. Always email those quotes. Unless, it's something like, where you've gotten a lot better at it, or you're, a base price on a certain size property with, like, say, maybe mowing, but even still, a lot of times with me and probably with a lot of other business owners, and when you're first year in business, is you're always worried about, is it going to be too much? Or is the client going to want to pay that price? Are they going to think I'm charging too much? You know what? You can't be worried about that. You're not going to get them all. But take your time. If you got to go home and think about it, then you'll send them over a quote. But if they don't want to accept your price, then sometimes you're just going to have to walk away. Number 3, this is another big one, and verbal commitments. Stay away from doing verbal commitments. Once you tell the customer you'll do this or that, or you can throw that in, you're on the hook for it. You got to deliver, even if it's not in the quote. So when you are doing your quote, you got to be very detailed in your quote, and to make sure that anything that y'all might have had talked about, or any verbal commitments, or I can go ahead and do this or throw that in there. If you gave a verbal commitment, you better get it in the quote. Because then when you're following your quote and you're doing the job and you got your ticket there and what needs to be done, if you ain't did the verbal commitment you had talked about, they're going to expect you to do it. So then you're wrapping up a job and you think you're done, and they're going to be like, well, what about staking those trees? You said you were going to stake all those trees for me. Well, now you're going to have to run to Landscape Supply, go get supplies, and then now that's taking you two more hours, 3 more hours to do something because you gave a verbal commitment that's not in the quote and not being charged for. Along with that, just being very detailed with your quotes. Everything, not necessarily itemized, but very detailed on exactly what the expectations are, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, and what's included in the quote, because it will get you into trouble. So have that customer approve that quote. So when you're just on a property looking at it with the customer and you guys are just looking and throwing general ideas out there and you're talking about this or that, that's fine. Don't commit to anything. You can talk about ideas and throw ideas back and forth. But once you get it on the quote, it's in the quote. They approve the quote. That's the work that's going to get done. Everything must be in the quote. All right, jump to number 4. Allowing clients to take advantage of you. This will happen in your first year in business. Small business, service business, landscaping, lawn care, anything. Just don't let them take advantage of you. You will quickly fall into a habit of allowing people to take advantage of you. Don't do it. Know your worth. Don't get talked into extra work. Because if you allow that to happen, they're going to think that, you know, they can always do it. If you're there to do a job and you priced them and quoted them up for that job, and then they want to, you know, the day of the job, you're doing work, you're about to wrap things up, and like, oh, you know, can you just grab that over there and throw it in the back of your truck, or trim that bush real quick? I'll be happy to get a quote for you, and, you know, we'll be able to do the work. So don't allow people to take advantage of you. That goes along with talking you down in prices too. If you give them a price and they want to start talking you down, stick to your guns, you know, stick to your prices, know your worth. If they want to continue talking you down, and maybe they're not going to go with you because you can't meet, you know, and give them the price that they want, then you're going to have to know when to walk away, okay? There's plenty of business out there. There's plenty of work to be done, whether your first year or not. And I'm telling you from experience, you know, year 2, just wrapped up year 2. Year 2 is like year 1, you know. There's some similarities, you know. You're gonna be going over all these things over and over and over again till you get it in your head that you're not gonna let this stuff happen to you no more. You're gonna learn your lesson, and you know you're gonna become a better business owner because of all these things. But if you got a penny pushing customer, and that's all they want to do, they want to get a little bit more work out of you all the time, and they're you know counting pennies, you need to walk away from them, drop them. So don't let clients take advantage of you. All right, number 5 mistake. And I learned from experience on this one as well. Do not take on risky work or work that you have no experience in. You know, and this can be something simple. Okay, if you never had experience trimming a bush, you're going to be fine trimming a bush. I'm talking about tree work, maybe hardscaping. You know, there's lots of other things, digging, trenching, stuff like that. If you don't know what you're doing, or you feel like, you know, there's any potential risk, don't take on the job. It is not worth it. I'm gonna tell you from experience. This is for my neighbor, actually. I was doing this for my neighbor. They just moved in across the street. I wanted to be nice. I wanted to be a good guy and help them out, help save them some money. I did a little bit of tree work for him in his backyard. Most of them were small, pretty small trees and stuff, and I told him I was going to stay away from some of the bigger ones. He pretty much talked me into and having me believe that I can do it. Not having all that much experience with trees, you know I can cut down a tree, but with proper technique and to make sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go, no, I did not. I cut down a tree. Tree's probably about good 30 feet tall. Timber falling straight towards the house. Luckily, just a few branches swiped the house, but there was a little bit of damage on some siding, and you know I had to eat that. You know, I worked for free all day that day, and I had to pay for that siding. So don't do it. I learned my lesson. It only took once. It could have been so much worse. That tree could have been wedged in their roof and just stuck into their house. It could have cost, you know, $20,000, $30,000. Who knows, if not more. Luckily, I got away. You know, I got lucky. I have a guy who actually does roofing and siding. You know, $600. I took care of it. You know, and that was that. I learned my lesson. Don't take on work that has any potential risk or that you don't know what you're doing. Don't do it. Or also, if you just feel like you may not be able to deliver, if you have any doubt that you may not be able to deliver on this job, if you never did a hardscape before, you never did pavers before, and you want to go ahead and do a whole big curved patio, and you have any doubt that you may not be able to do it, don't do it. All right, that wraps up my 5 most important mistakes for your first couple years, first year in landscaping, lawn care, service business. But I got a little bonus mistake, and it kind of touches up on number 4. just know when to walk away from a job, from a client. You know, it will really save you a lot of headache or any, you know, regret that you've taken on this kind of work. You know, you don't want to be jumping over dollars for pennies. You know, if you got a customer constantly talking you down, know when to walk away. Or if you got a job that, you know, just is not necessarily in your expertise, or something that, you know, you're not too sure about, just know when to walk away. I know you want to take on all the work you can. You know, you want to build as much revenue as you can, as many clients as you can, but some jobs are just better off walking away. I hope these help. You know, I've actually been really busy. This is only year 2 for me. I've been really busy this year. I've gotten a few videos out in the spring. Hopefully a lot more to come this fall now that things have been slowing down. I'll get into some more of my experiences in year 2 with like employees and some help, you know, prices and, you know, equipment's always fun to talk about and to share. And so yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, definitely leave them down below. You know, you can like the video, of course, as they all say. I will be posting more videos, so if you do like this kind of content and firsthand you see where I'm at, this video is just about to be, you know, posted September 2019 or 2020. Shoot, I'm lost. But yeah, you know, I'll be posting more. So thanks a lot. Have a good one.